Hello and welcome to episode 250 of the Epic Film Challenge 2. 1,001 movies you must see before you die. Now, we've recorded a lot of videos in this current session, so I think Connie's a little antsy, but I have to just quickly say we're now a quarter of the way there, if you take the one movie out of the end, 1,001.
I'm going to regret this, but where does antsy come from? Like ants up your ass or something?
Yeah,
or
I guess
what?
so. Yeah, just kind of like, ooh, ants, I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
I'm guessing, yeah, this is the very literal phrase, I'm assuming. So, yeah, 250, crazy, not going to dwell on it too much, you know, just keep plowing forward, but I can't believe it's taken over 5 years to get only a quarter of the way through. Oh well. So, the movie is, appropriately, I think, a great film, and a good one to kind of mark this milestone with. In fact, I think we did a previous, 150, episode 150 was Avatar. So we're rolling back around to James Cameron again with his 1991 film Terminator 2 Judgment Day. One of the best action films ever, I think. I mean, just looking at like that helicopter scene on the highway alone, I think is just like one of the best action scenes. But obviously, we'll get into it. That we've reviewed the first Terminator film. This is set a few years afterwards. We have Sarah Connor, who is now absolutely geared up and ready for anything that comes her way. And I love that progression of her character, where in the first film we meet her as this very meek, kind of innocent waitress. She goes through this very intense thing, and then by Terminator 2 she's just like a killing machine, you know. And I love how we learn bits and pieces of how she's kind of been with other men who are kind of like fighters and kind of, you know, soldiers and things like that. So she's kind of very much become this warrior woman, you know, because she is so certain that this apocalypse is going to happen, that this nuclear war, that this artificial intelligence taking over is going to happen, based on what, you know, happened in the first film, where Kyle Reese came back from the future to tell her about all this and to save her from the Terminator. I love how we follow the young John Connor, played by Edward Furlong. In fact, I will say, I've loved this film. It's always been great. Even when I was a kid, loved it. So good. I'll watch it over and over again. Watching it now, it's been many, many years. I think Edward Furlong, a little bit, some of his acting there is a little bit...
Is that the kid?
Yeah. Every now and again, it'd be like, oh, that wasn't as good as I remembered it. You know, just being very critical. You know, just a few scenes here and there. He just, you know...
He's a kid.
He is a kid, that's the thing.
But he's an older kid than what he's supposed to be in the movie, because it says that he's supposed to be age 10.
Yeah, I always...
He's like at least 13, 14.
Yeah, I'd say 12, 13 would be like a nice kind
Believable?
of... Believable, yeah. 10,
but
I don't know.
realistically?
Yeah. I don't know. Riding around a motorbike, 10 years old, just seems a bit... Yeah, I don't know.
I understand people being 30 and playing 20-year-olds, but you can't really mess around pre-puberty stuff.
But he has to be, because it's set in 1995, I believe.
And it says age 10
yeah,
on the computer.
Born in 85 or 84, whatever. So, anyway, so that's just a very minor aside. I love how this film flips the convention on its head, where Arnold Schwarzenegger arrives as the Terminator. We've seen this before. And they build it very nicely. Obviously, we all know that he's the good guy in this movie, but for someone who saw that for the first time in the cinema, the way they build it up, you know, he comes in, he kills all these guys in the bar, you know, absolute badass. I love that scene when he snatches that shotgun out of the guy's just like...
Does it kill him though?
Oh, no, he doesn't kill him. No, actually, I don't know why. I don't know why I said that. Yeah, but he, you know, he...
Wishful thinking?
No, not wishful thinking. Why would I wish that he killed everyone?
He doesn't even kill one person, does he?
No, he doesn't. But okay, so he goes there and he's stabbing people and like just, you know, just ripping through them.
Blows up the whole place.
Blows up the whole place and
slits everyone's throats.
Dogs and cats living together, but anyway, it builds up that he might be who he was before, even though he's obviously a different model and whatnot. But it's the same look, and it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's got the gun and. John Connor meets him in the hallway, and he's like, "Oh my god!" And then he's get down, and that's when obviously you kind of realize there's this other Terminator. So I guess it isn't really that much of a build up of suspense, but I like how they kind of play with it. And we have Robert Patrick as the new villain, the T-1000.
He's great.
Brilliant. You know, that he'll be remembered for that forever. You know,
I would say he's more horrifying than Arnold is in the first one.
I would say so. Yeah, there's something about him. He's more sinewy. He's more like
the way he runs.
Yes, he's like a cat almost. He's just this absolute predator. And I remember
like a what?
Like a cat. You know, just like he has that kind of the agility and the speed. You know, of a panther or something. Whereas.
Okay. It's just such a weird thing to say. He's like a cat. He's like a panther. Okay.
He's like a really fast guy. he's like a really agile guy. Just trying to be descriptive here. Work with me. And I love the early CGI, which looked really good because they smartly kind of had it be just this kind of liquidy metal. So it's like you're building this fully formed human in CGI, but you're doing it in a way that doesn't have any detail to it. So in that stage of visual effects and CGI, you can pull it off, and it doesn't look terrible by today's standards, which is saying something. So I love that element of it, and that's really, I think, the first baby steps of CGI becoming the thing that it became and is now in every movie like this. You know, it would then progress in Jurassic Park a couple of years later with the dinosaurs, and I guess The Abyss. I guess James Cameron was toying around with it in the 80s as well, so I guess it's not quite the first steps I was making it out to be. And it's just a film that is built on these incredible set pieces. The chase in the LA River with the truck and the bike, like, incredible. Like Arnie on the bike with the shotgun, spinning it around on one hand.
I love the way he reloads his gun.
Like
it's really cool.
So badass. You know, it's just like unbelievable.
I wonder how long it took him to actually
do
that.
Probably
and
took time
he's riding a motorcycle with no helmet. That would not fly today. They would be like, no.
He was probably on
We're
a
gonna use
track
stunt double
for some of it. I would just, or like, you know, like attached to a car for maybe some of the shots, especially when he's sprung in I'd assume for safety reasons and insurance reasons. And there's a lot of like obvious stuntman shots in the film with Arnie on the bike, who is just like, that looks like David Hasselhoff, not Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. What I love about the film, I didn't want to forget this, is that watching it now, I see just how much James Cameron used rear screen or front screen projection, whichever version it is, where, you know, they're performing in front of just a screen projecting an image. Like even in like the chase sequences, in the chase on the highway at the end, you know, you're seeing a lot of like that kind of that projection stuff, which is really well done. Like it's like old school, you know, effects and old school ways to kind of get some of those shots, but done really well, I thought. Some great animatronics, like the scene where Arnie gets shot and his face is kind of getting blown away, and it's like a robot, but
a lot better than the first one.
Yeah, and
that half face thing.
True, yeah, very, very good. Like obviously the effect when it's actually Arnold with makeup, but also when it's a full Arnold kind of animatronic. You know,
you can tell before he gets his face shot off that the face is already different.
Yeah.
Before it gets, you can tell the difference.
But it's really well done.
Yeah. For the time being, it's really well done.
The music is fantastic. Like it has such a power to it. Like the ding ding ding, like it sounds like metal clanging on metal, and it really gets you. And it's like a blood pumping adrenaline score. But there's also just a real, when I don't know musical instruments, but there's like like that comes in. There's just like there's emotion to it, but there's also like a power to it.
Yeah.
And I really love the score that helps the action build and things like that. Linda Hamilton is fantastic, I think. Just so much better than she was in the first film. And
I can't even believe that it's the same woman.
I know, and it really...
I was actually thinking, like, did they change the actress?
Well, you know what it is? She married James Cameron, I think, in the period between the first film and the second film. I think by the second film they split up. But obviously, you know, being married to him turned her into a tough woman. I don't know. It's just she seems like
just being in one of his movies changes you.
Exactly right.
According to Kate Winslet,
she feels like a completely different. Well, she feels like the same character, but she feels like a different person in the sense that she has much more strength. Though I love seeing her in that hospital. It's so frustrating, or asylum, whatever you want to call it, where these people are just. I mean, what else? I mean. I understand people not believing her, thinking she's a psycho, because that's what you would believe. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, they're really not nice to her. They're very, you know, especially that one guy who licks her face. Hate that part. So I love that when she smacks him in the face with the nightstick. Just like, yeah, fuck you, you prick. I
was thinking Kill Bill then.
oh God.
Well, he might have done that stuff, you know.
He could have, yeah. Let's not think about that. We watched the special edition cut, which I always prefer because it has the scene with Kyle Reese, which I think is really nice to have, to see her still remembering him so vividly.
You know what's even worse about that scene? I just gotta say.
Yep.
When he licks her face and she doesn't move, and then he goes, like, it turned him off that she didn't resist or get disgusted by it.
Oh.
It's even worse, right?
I hate that you thought about that, because that's true.
Well, I reacted to it, that he actually went like, oh, you know, she doesn't react. And then he just walks off instead of doing something about it. If she'd gone like this, he would have liked it.
Makes
and
my
he
skin
probably would
crawl.
have done more.
Thanks for that. Yeah.
He's ugly too.
Yeah.
Not that it helps if he's not ugly. I'm just saying, it's even more cringeworthy. Keep going.
I love the threat of and I'm just talking about stuff I love now. I love the threat of the T-1000 where he will stab people with his finger, with the kind of the there's a shot of that guy in the hospital, the guy who has a double, the twins, and the thing goes through his eye. It's just really grim and gross, and so
how quickly he can just kill someone.
Exactly, so it makes you feel it when although that scene when he runs after the cop car and he grabs on with his metal hands,
Yeah.
I always kind of think of the Simpsons scene where I can't remember which character it was, they've got two golf clubs. They're doing this thing. Always makes you think of the Simpsons.
I love the Simpsons for
that.
They just reference
so many
famous movies.
And
this is the thing that annoys me with him doing that though to the foster dad.
Okay.
Because he also stabs him through the face.
Yeah.
Or the mouth, actually.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
But he's still holding the carton for so long.
Rigor mortis. His body stiffened.
Yeah, right away. And then 30 seconds later, he's done on the phone, and the camera pans over, and that's when he drops his hand. Convenient.
It just looks cooler. It's a nice accentuation point to that scene where it's it's more of a visual. You just got to go with those kinds of things in film sometimes.
Yeah, there are ways that he could have fixed that.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Cameron, come on.
Also, I think probably a key scene that was left out of the original version is when they take his chip out of his head, which is people have talked about it so much, but the genius thing where they the mirror is not a mirror, it's another room with Linda Hamilton's sister inside and Arnold, and then there's an actual, because you see him in the mirror and then you see them going inside his head. It just seems impossible. It's a brilliant piece of just ingenious trickery, I think. But that idea of taking the chip out of his head and resetting it so he can start learning new things, so it kind of almost gets him to learn some form of empathy, which I think is the best part of this film. Is not that it's a great action film, but I mean that helps. It makes it enjoyable and exciting. But this relationship between this kid who's never had a dad and this machine, who becomes more of a father figure to him than anyone else has been, to the point where we get to the end of the film and he is crying over this robot who is going to die.
Yeah.
That's the brilliance of the film, is that it all builds to that moment at the end, and do you feel moved by it?
Yeah.
I don't get
You got the music too. The music is beautiful.
And the music, yeah, I agree. And that, earlier on in the film he's like, why do you cry? He doesn't understand it, and then at the end he's like, now I know why you cry, but that's something I can never do. Beautifully written. I think it's great. Also the theme of
Tears in the rain.
Tears. Also the theme of nuclear fear, I think, is something really prevalent in the film,
which we still have.
Yes, but I mean,
daily.
That fucking scene when she's dreaming of the bomb hitting, and the kids getting ripped, it just exploding.
She's holding on to the fence, and you can see the scream of the skeleton and stuff. It's a really great scene.
It's
how they did that.
It's an incredible sequence, and I see people moaning about that. They're like, oh, so the nuclear blast was so big that it blew the skin off, but yet she could still hold on to the gates. And it's like,
well, he held on to the milk carton.
No, but that sequence is a fucking dream sequence. It's her dream.
Exactly.
It doesn't need to make sense in that.
React to the milk carton instead.
It's her perspective. React to you're still hung up on the fucking milk carton.
Of course I am. Besides, I mean, you've seen in movies where no, I can't continue that.
You can't continue. Okay, we'll leave that one where it is. Yeah. But yeah, the whole feel of Sarah's internal fear of this nuclear, fallout, war, bomb dropping is really that's something to me that is real nightmare fuel. Is nuclear war. It's just so fucking terrifying, especially that we created it. And so her kind of internal fear, that I think, is really portrayed well. And when she's going psycho in the hospital, just great. Anything you'd like to kind of talk about with the film? That's
She makes me want to work out in the beginning of the movie.
I can
she
see
does
why.
some pull-ups.
Yeah.
That are very
inspiring,
impressive,
motivating.
I think the scene also where she sees Kyle Reese again is really good, and how she wakes up from it.
Yeah,
really it's really nice. Well done. How she hallucinates that part. I love Arnold in this movie.
He's great.
Yeah. There are parts where I think he's too human, but he's supposed to start becoming more human, so it's kind of okay.
There's one moment when I think they're preparing weapons towards the end.
I think he winks at her or something.
Right, yeah.
And I'm just thinking, he wouldn't do that.
Well,
or would he pick that up if he didn't know how to smile before?
They're on the road. You could. I mean, you get that scene where John is like, "Oh, you can just say this, or you can say that." He might have said, "Yeah, you just wink." You get the scene where he tells him to smile. But there is a bit where I think he's like preparing weapons, and he kind of goes like that, like he grimaces or something, which just doesn't seem like a thing that a Tony would. But I mean, this is very minor nitpicking.
No, but he does wink or something to her, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. There's something there where I'm thinking that's too human.
Yeah.
And I react to it, but if you would have seen John Connor teach him how to wink, then I would have like.
But then you don't need to set up every little thing, because then you just get too bogged down in that stuff.
What's his name? Who she tries to kill? He's really
Dyson.
Good.
Great.
Is he in Die Hard? Is he too old for this shit?
No. That's not even Die Hard. You're thinking about Lethal Weapon, for God's sake.
I'm thinking about that. Was that him?
No, it's not. No.
No, because he's too young.
He's right. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, he's not.
Is it the dad in Tea and Tamara?
I don't know. I haven't seen.
I don't know. Anyway, I feel like I've seen him somewhere
before. Yeah, I've seen him in
other
things. Yeah.
And he's really good. He's great in it.
He is,
and a good part of the movie as well. I like his death scene.
Yeah,
it's really good. It's
so
different.
memorable. Yes, different. Yeah, I agree.
It's very different. Like usually you just see people, but he's like hyperventilating in it, and that's really good because I've never seen that in an earlier movie before. I don't think, and I'm just thinking that's probably what you would do. Mm-hmm. You're struggling so hard to stay alive that you pushing your breath through. You know, and if you're in pain, I don't know if you ever had like a cramp in your chest or anything like that, but I've had that. Mm-hmm. And that's how I breathe because I can't inhale because it hurts too much. So it's just like short breaths. And he does that. And I'm just thinking, it's brilliant. It's really, really good.
And how it builds down into the...
Yeah.
So good. So well done. I love that whole sequence in that.
It's dramatic, but not like over the top.
Yeah, exactly. And I love the scene when Arnold kind of smashes open the window with the minigun and just blows everything away but doesn't kill anyone. That's another cool thing when John realizes that you have to do whatever I say because I sent you back from the future. So
you promised to trust me.
Exactly. And the Dyson character, I love that because
Dyson.
You see Sara, she's trying to kill him, and I love that scene when she kind of...
Is that why they called the Dyson fan and the Dyson?
No, but when I was a kid, I did think that because it was such a... When I was a kid, the Dyson Hoovers were a big thing. Anyway, completely random side effect.
Good product.
I'll leave a link in the description to all good Dyson products. So I love that scene where she's trying to kill him, and rightfully so. I mean, kill this guy, you stop everything. You understand why she is the way she is. I mean, perhaps she's a bit too militant about it, but I love it when you get that moment where she kind of sinks down to the floor and realizes what she is doing, and then when John comes in, like her son, who is this 10-year-old kid, and he's comforting her, he's bringing her down, and I love that. But it's one of those things where I could see in a movie where it would be like, okay, this guy is responsible for this whole thing happening, and he's poured like years of his life into researching all this stuff, and now someone comes and tells him you can't do it because it's going to cause this. I feel like in most other movies he'd be like, well, fuck you, I'm going to do it anyway because this is my work, I'm not going to give it up. But the human thing to do would be like, okay, let's destroy all of it. If this is what's going to happen, that's what's going to happen. I'll help you do it. I love that he's so compliant with that and he understands that. And the scene when Arnold rips his arm off is so unnecessary, but I love it anyway because it's such a great, like when he's cutting around the arm and down the thing, and it's just like the woman's screaming, and just the it's a cool piece of effect as well.
All you need to do is a little flap, like see,
exactly.
No, he takes his whole arm off.
There's just so many great mini moments again, and I think most great movies have those. Like I just popped into my head when they go to retrieve the arm from the first movie in the chip, and Dyson says to John Connor, you just have to press this button. He just grabs it and smashes it on the floor, just like, no, we don't need to do any of that shit. We're getting this stuff out. And the whole sequence in the foundry at the end, the kind of all that kind of molten stuff, it's just a great setting for that kind of finale and everything.
But everything still happens.
Right, okay. I'm going to say this now, and I don't want to overtake things. I know I talk a lot in these videos, but I've never really... I've never really thought about this until the time I watched this movie, what was it, a few days ago, last week. I never really thought about this until now. The fact that Dyson builds this technology that creates Skynet, that creates this artificial intelligence that starts this whole future war, that whole research he has created, he's the guy who's the whole source of the problem. He gets that stuff from the chip that was found in the first movie, from the first Terminator. So who created that? It's a loop that doesn't make sense because there's no one to create that first step. Complete paradox. And then also, if they stop the war, that means that Kyle Reese doesn't get born, or doesn't get born into a world where he gets sent back in time to meet Sarah Connor.
Wasn't he already born?
Well, no, because he's born after the events of both the first two films. He's born in the future and is a soldier who gets sent back in time by John Connor to protect his mother. He sleeps with Sarah Connor.
He's younger than John Connor,
right?
Isn't he?
Yeah, and so
by them erasing the future,
yeah,
they would erase themselves.
Yes, I mean, John would cease to exist as a person.
Yeah, he wouldn't be there. He would just.
If this was Back to the Future, you know, we'd be looking at a picture of him and his arm slowly fading away. But it all does happen
anyway, because there's a third movie and there's a fourth movie.
Oh, we forget about. We don't talk about those. Just brush those under the. But then they're making a new one. They're making a sixth movie that is apparently going to be the third movie. I don't know.
Terminator 3000.
I mean, Rocky 5000. We got Linda Hamilton coming back as Sarah Connor, which is exciting. I'm intrigued to see how they're going to try and...
Isn't the Game of Thrones chick Sarah Connor now?
She was for one of the movies, which they're again brushing that one under the carpet again. So I mean...
Oh, so they're starting... It's all Spider-Man.
Yeah.
All over again.
Wait,
so they're actually starting all over again?
Well, seeing as Linda Hamilton is coming back, I'm assuming it's going to be a Terminator 3. Like an actual one that continues... I mean, obviously... The actual Terminator 3 continues, but I mean, you know, I think they're going to forget 3, 4, and 5, and like the Halloween movie. I don't know. I'm intrigued to see where they go with it, but it's just, to me, it's a bit like the Alien series. You know, the first two are fantastic films. It kind of ends there. The rest are just kind of fun side projects. And then you
just have an alien baby and it's all fucked up.
Right, yeah. I mean, I can enjoy Alien 3, Alien Resurrection. I can really enjoy Terminator 3 and Salvation and Genesis. I really enjoy Genesis as its own movie, but... The real story is in those first two films, and it ends with Terminator 2. And it doesn't make sense, but you know what? That doesn't matter, because it's a great fucking film. And it's a classic, and I think it's one of the best sci-fi action films of all time. It's just filled to the brim with... Everything's great, like the sound effects, like everything across the board. It's just so well done. And I again really love Robert Patrick's too, because you can't just kill him. Like, he just keeps remolding himself. So I love how they build to how they finally kill him. It's just layering great stuff on top of great stuff on top of great stuff, and it's just fantastic. One last thing, kind of minor, but I really enjoy... I'd never really noticed it or thought about it, that Sarah's voiceover throughout the film. It reminds me of like film noir at times, and it's just, it felt a bit throwbacky to me. Just like every like half an hour, we get Sarah's voiceover, kind of telling the story almost, and then we end on that with just the road. Just that shot of the road, just a really kind of nondescript kind of shot. But I love how it ends on that. Something really cool about that. And then I guess we should mention the thumb thing. Like, that's kind of like the iconic moment. I really like it, you know. And did we ever see him teach him the thumbs up? I don't think. So you just kind of assume, you know, that's one of the things that he would have said. Yeah, if you're cool with someone, you just stick the thumbs up. So maybe that was where that came from. Anything else you'd like to add about Terminator 2? I feel like I've talked you into just like complete silence now.
Well, I've done my fair bit of talking for this review.
Yeah, you have, I know. So that's kind of the downfalls.
Quite enthusiastically too.
Yes, yes. So it's great, and it's one to go back to again and again and again and again, unlike the other movies. Well, the first one obviously as well, but yeah. Oh, is it a film you should see before you die?
Oh.
Let me think about that. It's an easy yes. It's just required viewing for anyone, I think. Just
kind of like the Alien series. Like, I think I like this one better.
Oh,
but
right.
Maybe the first one is better. I don't know. But this is just, it's just so good.
It's tricky, yeah. I don't know. It is like the Alien series, where the first two films are just both masterpieces.
But I just
like,
love the second one better.
Really, they're just two great films, so we can enjoy that, and it doesn't really matter which one is better or which one we prefer. But I find it hard to pick which I think is better or which I think is my favourite. So, and on that yawn, we'll say goodbye. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching the past 250 videos, if anyone has done that, or if you even watched any of them.
God, you must have skipped at least one. Come on.
I would be almost...
Can you please comment if you've seen all of the reviews?
I would almost feel like bad for you if you had seen all of them.
Yeah.
Like, it just Too much.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's been great doing this so far, and we'll continue to do it, and I'll continue to try and drag you into as many of these as I can. So thank you for sitting through as many of the ones that you have, and thank you all for watching. See you in the next one.
Bye bye.